Hi, welcome back. In our last demonstration, we began talking about the plistable aspect of these NS objects that are plistable. By a plist, I mean a file representation of an NS array or mutable array or dictionary or set, one of these classes in iOS that is classified as being plistable. Now, what we want to do is when this application loads, we want to find out if there's already a file out in the documents directory of the device that matches the file that we want to load our mutable array from. And if there is, we want to load the mutable array from that. If there's not, we simply want to initialize the array with its initial capacity. In order to do this, first of all, we need to find the document path. Now, we do this the same way in OS X development. We look for the path for the document directories in every user. So the way we do this is with this construct here, the NS search path for directories in domains function. And it has two parameters, NS document directory, three parameters, sorry, NS document directory, and then user domain mask. The user domain mask is going to return all users. So what this does is it returns an array of strings into this NS array called paths. This array of strings is going to be the full path to the document directory for each user. Well, now, since on an iPhone there's only one user, then we look at that paths and we look for the object at index 0, and this will return the string, the document directory. And then the full path, we're just passing in the file name here, and this full path is the document directory, and then we call the NS string method, string by appending path component, with the file name that we pass in, and then we'll return the full path. So this is a helper method that gets us the full documentation path. Now, when we lazily instantiate picker content, we want to look at that path, and we're calling our little helper method here, get full document path, and the file we're looking for, we're just calling it arbitrarily items.plist. So we get the full path, and then we check to see if the file exists at that path. And we're using NS File Manager, the default file manager. Now, when we get into file management a little bit later, we'll explain some of these things, but right now you can just lift this code and use it anytime you want to load an NS array, let's say, or an NS mutable array from a plist. So we check to see if that file exists. If it does, we want to make our picker content initialized with the contents of that file. If not, we just want to init with the capacity. So this does the first part. When the application runs, it's going to look for a file called items.plist in the document directory on the device. If it does exist, it's going to load up from that file. If not, this is the first time it's run, let's say, or somehow that file got deleted, it's just going to load up from an empty, it's going to make an empty array. Now, on the other end, we want to make sure that at all times this plist is saved out every time this mutable array changes. The simplest way to do that, there are other ways, but the simplest way to do that is to do it right in our add click. We know that this is the only place that this mutable array will change. We have added the object item and then reloaded all of our components, and then again we get the path, we get the full document path for items.plist, and then we call the method write to file atomically. So we're writing to that file path. We don't need to write it atomically because we are in only one thread. We're in the user thread. This happens very quickly. So we do this with the NS mutable array picker content. Now when we run the application, let's add a couple of entries here, like 3. Okay. And now remember before when we click stop and then reran it, those elements that we had just added were gone. Now when we rerun the application, the elements are still there. And so we've done what we set out to do. NS array, NS dictionary, NS set, these are all plistable. We can write to file atomically with a plist file, and we can load, we can initialize with the contents of a plist file for all three of those types and their mutable variations. NS string is also plistable, but it's plistable in the context of being able to write, let's say, to an NS dictionary containing NS arrays of NS strings. So if all of the elements of our data structure are plistable, then the data structure itself is plistable in this sense. Thank you very much.